Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming today. I'm joined by St. Lawrence County District Attorney Gary Pasqua, Under Sheriff O'Brien, New York State Police Lieutenant Heilman. Today at approximately 3 p.m., the St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with the St. Lawrence County District Attorney's Office and the New York State Police, have charged Adam W. Smith, age 46, of Lake Placid, with murder in the second degree and A1 felony. After investigating an incident that occurred on March 1st of this year at the address of 258 County Route 10 in the town of Rossee, Smith was arraigned by Rossee Town Justice Philip Gentile and remanded to the St. Lawrence County Correctional Facility without bail. We will provide much information as we can. However, this is still an active investigation, and not to hinder that investigation, we will not get into certain specifics of that case. To recap, deputies were initially called to the residence on March 2nd at approximately 2:18 p.m. for a body that was located inside that residence. Upon their arrival, deputies found William Freeman, age 67, of Rossee, deceased inside the residence with stab wounds to his body. Deputies also discovered that Mr. Freeman's vehicle had been stolen. On that same date, at approximately 5 p.m., Adam Smith was apprehended by law enforcement in Freeman's 2018 Chevrolet Silverado in Jefferson County on the intersection of 81 northbound near the Bradley Street off-ramp. Smith was subsequently brought back to the St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Office and was charged with criminal possession of stolen property, 4th degree, and was arraigned in front of Canton Town Justice Mike Morgan and remanded to the St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Office on $10,000 cash bail. An autopsy was performed on the victim the next day by forensic pathology specialist Dr. Michael Sikorica, where the preliminary report ruled Mr. Freeman's death a homicide from injuries sustained in that knife assault. Several leads and interviews have been conducted, along with numerous search warrants that have been executed to include residents, vehicles, and personal property. We've also been assisted by the New York State Forensic Investigative Unit, FIU, that has collected and processed an abundance amount of forensic evidence. With the ongoing investigation, the St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Office is and has been assisted by the New York State Police, the Office of Homeland Security, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, Watertown Police Department, the North Country Crime Analysis Center, and the St. Lawrence County District Attorney's Office. I want to personally thank these agencies for their assistance in this case. It was their outstanding dedication and their persistence and numerous hours of investigation that has led us to this arrest today. I recognize that frustration with the lack of information that was being released. However, providing any details of this criminal investigation might have tainted the upcoming prosecution or alerted the suspect of our progress. Lastly, this multi-agency investigation since the initial report of this tragic incident has been focused pursuing every lead that we received in our pursuit for justice for the victim and their family. I want to send my condolences and prayers to the family and friends of William Freeman. We can only hope that this arrest today will bring some comfort to the family. Now I'd like to turn over to District Attorney Pasqua.
Thank you, Sheriff. As you know, the last few days, there have been developments as well in the investigation into the death of Ronald Durham, which occurred on February 11th, and which is under investigation by the New York State Police. As you know, in the last few days, Frederick Wing, who was originally arrested for that crime and charged with murder, was released Friday evening at the request of my office, as well as law enforcement, after new information was developed during the investigation into Mr. Freeman's death. At this time, I can say that Adam Smith is the primary suspect in Mr. Durham's death. I do expect that within the upcoming days, there is an expectation that Mr. Smith will be charged in the homicide of Mr. Durham. That has not occurred at this time, as the New York State Police continues to investigate leads in that matter, continues to execute search warrants in that matter. But based upon the physical evidence that has been collected, as well as additional interviews that have been conducted, we do expect that Mr. Smith will be charged with that crime shortly. And with that, we will open it up to any questions with regards to either of the investigations at this time.
Are there any other suspects right now?
There are no other suspects in either of the investigations at this time.
And for Frederick Wing, anything on his charges?
His charges remain pending at this time. While I have said that we do not believe that Mr. Wing ultimately is the person that took Mr. Doran's life, the investigation into what occurred on that day continues, and what, if any, actions Mr. Wing took during that time and after that time certainly are under investigation. Whether or not any charges ever come of that will remain to be seen. But we are thankful that at this time it appears that Mr. Wing now has been released. We do not believe he took Mr. Doran's life, and it appears that he is being truthful and honest with law enforcement at this point.
There's been some reporting that he might be a witness in the case. Is there anything to say on it?
All I will say to that is that the time that law enforcement began investigating that crime, they were provided with information from Mr. Wing that made it clear he had intimate knowledge of what happened. Law enforcement did not make the decision to arrest Mr. Wing on some whim. They had solid information based upon what was relayed to them, based upon the physical evidence, that they had probable cause to believe Mr. Wing committed that crime, which is why they made the arrest. So take from that what you will, but clearly, we believe that he has solid, concrete information about what happened. We believe at this point he has shared that truthfully, and I'm willing to share that information now because his attorney has basically come out and shared that before we even did. So I don't believe I'm telling you anything that hasn't already come in.
There's been some mystery and questions about how the Adam Smith may have gotten to the suspect's house in the Rossi investigation, because there was no vehicle there that we've heard about, and why he stole the vehicle. Is there anything you can tell us about how he got there?
I don't think we're going to speak specifically to any exact pieces of evidence we have in that case. And Sheriff, I don't think.
No, at this time, I don't think we want to get into the specifics. Again, this investigation is still ongoing. Interviews are being conducted, evidence is still being collected. A lot of things are still to be done. We're only in the infancy stages of this investigation. So to give those specifics out, it would hinder this investigation. So at this point, we're not going to just divulge that.
As in terms of any relationship between the victims and Adam Smith, can you tell us anything about, did they know each other?
They were associated. I can give you that much information. There was some association between the individuals.
Any specifics with both individuals?
That's correct.
Any more specifics on how?
Now, again, to hinder the investigation, we don't want to get too much into the specifics, but generally we can tell you they were associated. So it wasn't a random act by some stranger or something of that effect. Hence, we knew early on in the investigation that the public really wasn't an issue as far as being in danger.
How about Frederick Wing and Adam Smith? Did they know each other?
What I will say about that is all of the individuals involved in the Durham case were known. Certainly, there were no random coincidences really in either of these cases. And as we said from the beginning, the general public was not in danger. And we knew that early on, one, because we knew they weren't random acts, and also we knew where Mr. Smith was right away once Mr. Freeman was found, thanks to the work of the Sheriff's Department in conjunction with the state police as well as authorities in Jefferson County. Mr. Smith was in custody right away. We did not want to divulge that right away because we wanted to make sure there were no other individuals who may have been part of these crimes or assisting him. But we were fairly confident we had the individual responsible and knew there was no danger to the general public.
You guys have been working this case pretty hard. Any estimate on how many hours when it's for all parties involved?
I don't think it's possible to put that, to quantify that, given the number of agencies and how hard this has been worked since February 11th, when the first report came in regarding Mr. Dorham. That case has been worked really around the clock by the New York State Police since then, and since Mr. Freeman was found. The Sheriff's Department has been working nonstop on that case, along with the assistance of other agencies. So from the very beginning, despite the fact that Mr. Wing was arrested early on, law enforcement has not stopped their investigation. And as I said earlier in other interviews, that investigation will not stop now. That investigation will not stop probably until we potentially sit 12 people in the jury box someday down the line.
Really, my last question, historically, can you remember other cases like this where so much went into it and you had two separate homicides that linked to each other, where one sort of maybe opened up the case for the next, or anything even similar to it?
Not locally, not since I've been here in the North Country, but I think it just goes to show how thorough and how hardworking really our law enforcement community is. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to link Mr. Smith right away to the February 11th incident, but based upon the information that we had and all the evidence available, I don't believe it was possible at that time. But law enforcement didn't stop that investigation, didn't stop working those leads. And I think the collaborative effort that was put forward by all of the agencies is really what led to being able to make that link and being able to make sure that we got to the right individual.
And also, is there anything you can say as to a motive for Smith, why he may have committed the one in Rossi and why he may be a suspect in it?
No, I'm not going to comment on that.
Does Mr. Smith live or stay in the area? I know he said he was from Lake Placid
Yes, he does have a residence locally.
in St. Lawrence County.
Yes.
Can you say which town?
I believe it's in Rossi. Is it Governor? Governor.
In the town or the village?
Town, I believe.
Did William Freeman and Ronald Durham know each other, have any association?
Not that I'm aware of.
So I just want to say this, that this individual that's been arrested for this crime, pretty heinous crime, is through our investigation, it appears to be a very dangerous individual. We've got him one murder and probably a second very soon to get him off the streets of St. Lawrence County and our adjoining counties. It is pretty important. And again, a lot of hours of work from all of our agencies in St. Lawrence County, and that's what it's about, is to solve these as quick as possible, and these dangerous individuals to get them off the streets is so important to the citizens, and that's why these individuals behind me and all the law enforcement officers, they put all those hours and time into these investigations because they know it's important to get these individuals off the streets. So again, I want to commend them on all they did as quickly as we did to get him arrested. That's pretty quick turnaround for a homicide. But yet Gary says, and he's right, we're still not done, still a lot to do. But that, level of getting him off the streets for myself, the sheriff and our sheriff's office and all the law enforcement agencies is super important to keep every citizen in the county as safe as we can.
Is Adam Smith suspected of any other crimes in St. Lawrence County besides the murder and stealing the truck?
Again, we're looking at a lot more to do. We don't know if there's other crimes he's committed. We are definitely looking hard into everything he's been doing in the past several months, if not years, because we have, a lot of unsolved crimes in this county. Was he even part of some of those crimes? That's what we're looking into. So we're looking hard at all these things, and we will continue to do that.
Does Smith have any type of criminal record?
Yes, he does.
Anything you can tell us about?
Well,
that?
he's currently on probation. It was violated and he's been held in the custody of the sheriff since Friday when we had the arrest on the larceny charges that he had. So he's out on the street on probation. It's unfortunate that people had to lose their lives for that.
What crime was he on, or is he on probation?
There was a violation of probation filed on Friday morning. It was filed in open court, so I believe it was filed for a burglary in the 3rd degree conviction. I'm not positive about that, but I believe that is what it was filed.
You mentioned some of those unsolved crimes that you may be looking at Smith or maybe other people at Zippers. Any, can you elaborate on what those unsolved crimes would be?
Yeah, we're just looking at him as what he's done in the last several months, because he's committed these other crimes, maybe the ones that we don't know about just yet, that may lead to him being the suspect and be arrested. So I don't have a specific, like, this is the crimes we're looking at. We're gonna look at his past, his associates, where he's been, maybe other communities he's been at. This is a trigger their investigation to look at him a little closer, those type of things.
Anything else you guys would like to add in closing or just that we might not have asked about?
No, I appreciate you guys coming here and covering this. It's important for St. Lawrence County citizens to know, what happened here in this investigation, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to hear this.
No, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.